In 1996, the internet was exploding. Millions of new pages were appearing every month, messy, unorganized, and impossible to navigate. Search engines were slow, inaccurate, and easily manipulated. Most people thought search was a boring problem, already solved. But one 23-year-old PhD student at Stanford didn't see it that way. Larry Page felt the web was growing too fast for traditional methods, and he kept wondering, how do you truly understand something as massive as the internet? One night, around 2 a.m., he woke up with a strange idea, a dream that seemed too absurd to be real. What if you could download the entire internet onto a computer and analyze how every page connected to every other page? He grabbed a pen in the dark and scribbled the idea down before it disappeared. It was a simple thought, but it would become one of the most important ideas in the history of technology. The next morning, he shared it with Sergey Brin, a fellow Stanford student who loved big mathematical challenges. Larry proposed a system that looked at backlinks, the links pointing to a web page, to determine how important the page was. Instead of counting keywords like every other search engine, Larry wanted to measure trust. Important pages tend to be linked by other important pages. That was the breakthrough insight. Larry called the idea backrub, and together they started building it. They began coding in their dorm rooms, working non-stop. They didn't have money for proper servers, so they bought cheap parts and wired machines together using makeshift shelves and even Lego pieces. As their system grew, it used so much bandwidth that it constantly crashed Stanford's servers. Students joked that whenever the network slowed down, Larry and Sergey must be running that crazy project again. But the results were extraordinary. Their search engine returned cleaner, more accurate results than anything online. Soon, Stanford students and researchers were asking, "Can we use your search engine?" Larry and Sergey built a simple interface with a white background and one search box, not because it was a design choice, but because they didn't know HTML well enough to design something complicated. That plain, empty page would later become one of the most iconic interfaces ever created. They believed in the idea, but investors didn't. Most told them search wasn't profitable. Some said they should turn their technology into a shopping portal or entertainment site like AOL or Yahoo. Search, they were told, was not a business. In fact, Larry and Sergey even tried to sell Google to the search company Excite for just $1 million. Excite turned them down. In hindsight, it may be the most expensive no in Silicon Valley history. But that rejection pushed them to keep building. Their breakthrough moment came when Andy Bechtolsheim, co-founder of Sun Microsystems, stopped by for a demo. After seeing Google in action for just a few minutes, he said, "This is going to be huge," pulled out his checkbook, and wrote them a $100,000 check on the spot. Larry later joked that they didn't even have a company or a bank account yet. The check just sat there for weeks because they had nowhere to deposit it. With funding, they set up an office in a friend's garage in Menlo Park. They worked obsessively, refining speed and accuracy. Larry insisted on one rule above everything else. Google had to be fast. Search results needed to load in under half a second, no matter what. No clutter, no distractions, no slow features. Users came first. That philosophy separated Google from every other search engine, which were drowning in ads, portals, and messy homepages. By 1999, Google was processing millions of searches per day. By 2000, it became Yahoo's default search engine. And within a few years, Google was the starting point of the entire internet. What began as a nighttime idea, a thought scribbled on a notepad, became the foundation of one of the most powerful companies in the world. Larry Page once said, "If you're changing the world, you're working on important things. You're excited to get up in the morning." For him, it started with staying up late, one strange dream that refused to be ignored. One moment of curiosity that turned into PageRank, into Google, into a revolution that reshaped how humanity finds information. One night, one dream that changed the internet forever.